Hi, I'm Jennifer Shahade, three-time national chess champion, and I'm here with my son, Fabi. Yes. And today, what are we going to talk about?
Blunder.
Heck yeah. Let's start with this move. Da, 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 da. I'm up a piece. Oh no, it's checkmate. Well, Fabian, good job. Let's take our trusty time machine, go back about 7 years, and see what you said about blunders when you were just 2 years old.
Don't fuck up. Don't fuck up. Don't fuck up. Don't fuck up. This is Elmo, Mommy.
Wise words from Fabi. Don't fall cup. It's kind of a saying that I live by now. And honestly, if you're a chess player, it's really important not to fall cup because so many games are lost by falling cup, right? Like this game. Like this game actually occurred in a World Chess Championship in Havana in the 1890s. And it was between Steinitz and Chigorin. And not only was it a blunder, but it was a costly blunder. If Chigorin had won this game and he was up a piece before he played this move bishop b4, he would have forced the match into a tiebreak, into overtime. So why do people, even the best players in the world, sometimes make such big blunders? And what can it teach us about how to fall cup less in our own games? That is what we're going to be talking about today, Fabian. And before we get into more examples, do you want to give me any opinions on why people blunder?
Because they think something's a good move, but actually their opponent had a plan to check me.
Okay, that's definitely part of it. But what are some warning signs? Like alarm, 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 there might be a blunder ahead. That's what we're going to talk about
My
today.
opponent's threatening checkmate.
Yeah, when your opponent's threatening checkmate, absolutely. And one thing that you can do before every move is do what we call a blunder check. Have you ever heard of looking for captures, checks, and threats? Exactly. So that is kind of a blunder check. Before you make your move, you say, wait a second, is there a capture? Is there a check? Is there a threat? Our first example is going to use my favorite anti-blunder acronym. Do you know what an acronym is?
No.
An acronym is like an abbreviation for something using the initials, like for instance, TV.
What about an eyeball?
I don't think an eyeball is one, but I like what you're thinking. All right.
What about a water bottle with an eyeball inside?
Okay, silly. The acronym I'm thinking is called LPDO. Do you know what that stands for?
What? Loose pieces drop on.
Exactly. Loose pieces drop off. Let's take a look at how a world chess champion, Anatoly Karpov, fell victim to being on the wrong side of LPDO. And in this game, he was playing against a U.S. chess champion called Larry Christiansen. Christiansen was known for his hyper-aggressive play, and guess what? When I won my first U.S. Women's Chess Championship, Larry was the U.S. chess champion.
But what about the world chess champion?
Well, he's playing against a world chess champion in this very game.
But he'd lose it.
Well, let's stay tuned. Let's stay tuned because who knows what's going to happen when LPDO is involved. All right, let's take a look, Fab. So in this game, kind of a weird maneuver. He wants to get, first he gets the queen to protect his pawn, and then he moves the bishop back to control e4. Now knight c3, c5, e4. So white does get in this desirable move, e4. And now after cd4, knight takes d4, knight c6, knight takes c6, bishop takes c6. So now I saw bishop f4, knight h5, hitting this bishop. And now, after bishop to e3, black decided, Karpov, the great Karpov. Do you know what Karpov was known for, by the way? No. He was known for his great strategic positional play, meaning he just kind of had a feel for where pieces go. In particular, he wants to find good places for his minor pieces. And so he's trying to think, maybe that knight can land on an f4 square at some point. So he played the move, bishop to d6. And now, white played a move that shows the power of LPDO. What did white play here? Larry Christiansen to move.
This is a loose piece.
Which one? Point out the loose pieces.
This one.
Which one?
This one.
Yeah, that one.
And this one.
Exactly. So 2 loose pieces. So that's alarm bells. I don't think I'm very good at the alarm sound. You can probably do better than me. So that's a sign there might be a tactic. That doesn't really work. You just take it back with the bishop, actually, considering what we're going to see next. So in order to attack both loose pieces at once, you need to do a double attack, which is probably the most important tactic in chess. Is there a way to attack both pieces at once? Now, I'm showing you from Karpov's point of view, but you have to look at it from Larry's point of view.
And that's super duper whooper pooper hard.
It is harder, but I did that intentionally. You know, there are some students, they hate to look at the big game from the other point of view, and they're constantly wanting to flip the board. I want to see it from my point of view, but you know what? I don't agree with that because I feel like in chess, you need to see the position from the other person's point of view. In fact, that's one of the first points I make in my book, Thinking Sideways, that chess,
What about
good chess players are always looking at their opponent's ideas.
queenside castle?
Oh, that's a great idea. Queenside castles hits that bishop. When you only attack one thing, then I usually can just move it. That's not enough to beat the great Anatoly Karpov. Did you know that your Uncle Greg was almost called Anatoly after Anatoly Karpov?
I don't know.
Well, look for a move that attacks both of these guys. Oh!
Do.
Very, very tough move to find, by the way. Why is this move hard to find? How could somebody so good miss Queen D1? Part of it is LPDO, but
Because it's a backward move.
Bingo, baby. Exactly. It's that backward move. The queen has already gone to C2 to protect this pawn earlier and to develop. And so to move it back to D1.
But it isn't a big blunder by black.
I mean, it is. He actually resigned here. You're going to lose a whole piece. You can't stop.
But it's not like a gigantic blunder.
I mean, at the grandmaster level, you have to resign here because you're going to lose a whole
No, but
piece.
it's like not like a gigantic level. Like, I'm saying, like, it's not a gigantic blunder. Like, it's hard to do.
Oh, you mean you can understand why he missed it?
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's the world champion. It's going to be rare that he misses something like this. But in its rarity, we see important lessons. That, first of all, you're right, backward moves are hard to find. And what's the other important lesson here?
You lose if you don't, if a backward move happens.
Well, I don't know about that. The other important thing is that loose pieces drop off. So you got your loose knight here and your loose bishop here. Now, that doesn't mean never keep a piece loose. Of course, that's unrealistic. Sometimes in chess, you have to have a piece that's unprotected. But the point is, when you have multiple loose pieces in your game, you have to be extra careful, right? So you have to be on the lookout. The same way, like, if the alarm was going off, you would be like, oh, what's going on? I need to check to make sure everything's okay, right? A lot of times it's going to be a false alarm. And just because you have a piece unprotected doesn't mean that your opponent can win your pieces. But it means that you have to check even more carefully. That blunder check we talked about, right?
Queen is here. Bishop is here. Oopsie, it was a false alarm.
That's right. Because if it was just like this, then after Queen D1, you just play Knight F6, or you're ready to put your knight on F4. So absolutely great point, Fabian. So let's take a look at another example. This one is actually the shortest U.S. Chess Championship game of all time.
How short was it?
We'll see.
9 moves, 8 moves, 4 moves, 3 moves, 2 moves, or 1 move?
I think he said every number except the number that it was. This was the shortest U.S. Chess Championship game of all time between Kamran Shirazi and John Peters. Let's take a look at how it went.
And Mr. Eyeball was the judge.
Mr. Eyeball. Okay, so B4, this is what we call a gambit, which means you give up a pawn in order to get a lot of active play. I like gambits. I think they're fun. I think they would really fit your style. But this is not exactly a model game for gambits. Pawn takes B4. And now after A3, so the idea is you're trying to get like the bishop out here, maybe disrupt the castling plan for black. something like that. And now d5, because usually an attack on the wing is well met by a counterattack in the
center.
Exactly, that usually works out really well. So white took, and now after queen takes d5, he said, you know what? I can restore the balance of pawns by playing pawn takes b4. I've got 6 pawns. You've got 6 pawns. And now what can black do?
Black has made a gigantic mistake, and it's all Mr. Eyeball's fault. Queen here. Mr. Eyeball's supposed to be a biased referee, but Mr. Eyeball wasn't.
So queen e5 check. Why is queen e5 check such a good move? What happens when I block?
Here.
Exactly. And this is taking advantage of the loose piece. So what's the lesson here? You hit me here and you hit me here.
That loose pieces don't drop off, except if they do drop off.
In this case, they do. And he actually lost this U.S. Chess Championship game in just 5 moves because of this loose rook here.
Well, he should have never resigned, because then he might have not got the world record. Now everyone makes fun of him. Maybe he should have just waited like a better few moves and not have like 30 moves in a game.
The point is everyone blunders, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. In fact, if you never blunder, all it means is that you probably haven't played much chess. Because in order to play well, you have to get out there, play gambits, and you're going to make some mistakes. I mean, even Karpov made a massive mistake in the last example we looked at. And actually, one of the players I have next on my list is none other than Magnus Carlsen. So let's take a look at that. So this is a really recent example from Magnus Carlsen at the World Blitz Championship. He's playing none other than Fabiano Caruana. Fabiano is on the white side, and Magnus Carlsen is playing black. This is from the World Blitz Chess Championships, and it's black to move. Notice that black is ahead by 1 pawn, and so he's going to try to figure out a way to get the edge in this endgame. And then Magnus played the move, bishop d3, and suddenly he realizes in horror, Fabiano can simply take the rook off. Now, how does the greatest of all time do this? Well, the reason he did this is because he transposed moves in his head. It's a very common blunder at the highest level. I mean, they don't do it often, but when very strong players blunder, they often blunder in this way. And basically, it's like they're calculating a move ahead. So Magnus is thinking in his head, rook takes rook, and now bishop d3 is a very good move because we're telling the knight to go away so that this pawn is not vulnerable, right? Because otherwise, Fabiano would play rook a8 and put pressure on this pawn. So bishop d3 was his plan. The problem is he reversed the moves and he played this move first. It's kind of like skipping ahead. And you can see why strong players do this, because strong players are capable of thinking far ahead. So sometimes they are looking almost in their head blindfold many moves ahead, and they forget to actually play those moves over the board. Magnus made a huge mistake, lost to Fabiano. But guess what happened in the tournament?
Magnus won.
He did win the World Blitz Championship and the Rapid as well. So it goes to show you can make a big blunder and still come back from it. And you should never be ashamed of making a blunder. It happens to everyone. Even Magnus Carlsen, every single world champion has blundered. The question is how to do less of them and induce your opponent to do more of them. Okay, in this position, another former world champion played the move queen e3 here, thinking I can trade queens, bishop first knight, and don't trade. I have checkmate on e1. But what was the problem with that?
Queen here, checkmate. They can't move here because of the knight. They can't move here because of the queen, and this square is blocked.
Absolutely. Why do you think Kramnik missed this? This is a bit of a philosophical question. I mean, he's a great player, of course. Why did he miss this? I think he's confused. No, we talk about how backward moves are hard to see. This isn't exactly a backward move, but it's protected by a backward movement. So that is the issue, that it's a little bit of a blind spot for some people. Backward moves and also a backward protection. So a piece like the knight is rarely on the square f8, so it protecting the queen in this way is like a little bit of a blind spot. Also, he might have hallucinated that his king was here. If his king were here, actually, that would have been a good move in this position. To instead of playing queen a3, to play king g8, attacking the knight, so queen h7 is no bueno because we just take it. So one of those reasons. Sometimes it's hard to know why somebody blundered. Honestly, the only person who actually knows for sure is the player who blunders. And that's something that's good to be honest with yourself about, because if you want to make fewer blunders and find and take advantage of more opponents' blunders, it's good to know thyself, to know why you do things. Because in this particular game, Kramnik was playing against a computer. Computers don't have feelings or psychology. They just play the best moves. But humans, we all have our individual weaknesses and strengths. So if we understand why we blunder, then we can make fewer blunders in our games.
Here, if it was here, this would be good.
Oh, if our king was on g8. Yeah, we would have a lot of good moves then. We could just take the knight also. But absolutely.
But here's better because it's threatening checkmate. And anything threatening checkmate is better!
I don't think so, actually, because queen c4 check, and then king takes f8, queen takes c1, stops it. I would just take the knight, I think. Okay, Bobby took a little break. I'm going to take his free pawn. Oh, no! My knight. Oh, good job. Don't forget. Don't bulk up.
Emergency averted.
And also subscribe. That's the ultimate don't fuck up.